Hey YouTube, league turnover today. Great League out, Ultra League in, and there is also Retro Cup. So if Retro Cup is on again for the Great League. If you want to see that, that is on this morning's video, so you can go check that out. But in this video, we are looking at Ultra League, and Ultra League, the rankings are actually kind of crazy. So I'll go over the top 20 here, but just to give you an idea of like what you're not seeing here, that is also on the top like 50. Skeledirge at 22. Staraptor at 23. Shadow Zapdos, which I love using, has jumped up to 26. Skarmory, 33. Superior, XL Superior, 44. Bellybolt, which I used in the Great League last season, which sucked, 48. It just seems like... It honestly seems like it's a weird... We're moving into a... Like Mandibuzz XL has moved up to number 6. It just seems like we're moving up to like a weird, buffed up Great League. It's like a bunch of Great League Pokemon now in their XL form. I really thought that... So it's kind of good and kind of bad. So if you have not played Ultra League in a while, or you have played Ultra League in a while, you will know the Ultra League meta has not really shifted in like 5 seasons. It has been always dominated by some things that are still on this list. Registeel, Giratina, Cresselia, Virizion, Cobalion once they came in, Jellicent, Swampert, like a lot of that's on the still top 20. They're still on the top 20. Has dominated this Ultra League meta for forever, and I'll go over why in a second. But now you have like these other XL Pokemon coming up, like all the Flyers, Mandibuzz, Talonflame, Skarmory. Poliwrath is on this list twice as the Shadow, Non-Shadow, and both in the top 10, right? So it's Lanturn, number 20 now too. It's just like, it's a weird Great League buffed up Ultra League now, right? So let's go over this list of the top 20. And let's just start with, I'm actually going to just start with the ones that are always on this list because I can quickly go through those. Registeel is basically just like, not unchecked because you can like punish it with like Swampert and stuff like that, or fighters, but just it's XL, bulkiness, fast, quick charging, focus blast, zap cannon coverage. It's one of the best Pokemon. Giratina is one of the best safe swaps. Even in bad matchups, you are just so spammy and so tanky. So Registeel, Cresselia, and Giratina, same thing. Cresselia, just super bulky, super spammy, great coverage. Those Pokemon as safe swaps or just on Ultra League teams have not changed because they're just super strong. Virizion at 7, Cobalion at 12. Once those two came in and got double kick Sacred Sword combo, boosted them into the top 20. You can use them as like a double backline Cabal in Virizion with like a Pidgeot in the front or something like that. There's so many ways to use these Pokemon. Both are super legendary, hit hard, double kick, Sacred Sword charge really fast. I like using Leaf Blade on Virizion to give you coverage. Stone Edge on Cobalion gives you obviously good fire cover or flying coverage for double kick and Sacred Sword, otherwise being resisted. So nice, strong Pokemon that have always been there. What else has been here for a while? Gliscor's been here for a while, just because it's like, just think Gligar, but Ultra League, right? You have, unlike the other Flyers, which are weak to like electric and stuff, you just have that ground which neutralizes plus the Earthquake to hit for super effective against steel. So nice coverage there. Jellicent, once it got Surf, it became much more prevalent. Again, I would put it in the Registeel, Giratina, Cresselia safe swap, just bulky Pokemon. Even in bad matchups, you can kind of surf. Bubble, what you're not seeing on this list is Bubble also got nerfed for Jellicent. Not nerfed, buffed for Jellicent. So you can, I mentioned, I didn't do a top, because the top teams I'm going to do today focus on these Poliwraths and Lanturns and Talonflames, like the new Pokemon. That's why it's new Ultra League teams. You can go back and look at past Ultra League teams. One of the past is also using Jellicent as a safe swap with Bubble to try and draw out like a normal typing, or to draw out a dark. And then you'll do way better with Bubble against it, and then you have your other ghost in the back, Cofagrigus or whatever ghost you want to use in the back, roam free. That's how you use that with Bubble. And then Swampert, right? Unless they've already nerfed it once, but unless they nerf Hydro Cannon again, Mudshot Hydro Cannon combo is just going to be super, is always going to hit. If Swampert's in a meta, unless the meta is just water and grass, like it's going to be in the top 20 no matter what. So that's kind of it. Guzzlord's an interesting one. It's kind of weird to see it in the top 20, but not really. dragons have place in this meta. Its bulk plus its crunch, which gives you coverage for like Cresselia and stuff like that, makes it probably a little better than the other dragons. I like using Dragonite in this meta, quite honestly, over Guzzlord. Oh, and Tapu Fini. I didn't talk about Tapu. Tapu's on here because same thing. One of the best water Pokemon. Just generally safe. Moonblast, good coverage for your grass Pokemon, which you would otherwise, I mean, you're still going to lose, but otherwise lose too. So let's talk about what's new. I guess I forgot Pidgeot. Pidgeot's on this list. It's always been on this list as sort of a main flyer just because once Wing Attack got buffed and you use it on the lead, you either lower your opponent's attack ×2 or you Brave Bird and Bail, which makes it just very, very powerful to use. Let's go to kind of new on this list. Poliwrath. Poliwrath was always sort of up here in the Ultra League. Having the XL bulk, like Poliwrath even in Great League has like decent bulk, so having the XL bulk in Ultra League as a fighter, which fighters in this league generally don't have the bulk, like just think of the other fighters in like Surfetched, or I mean Scrafty has bulk, but like what Surfetched, what was the other fighter that Machamp, stuff like that, just don't have the bulk. Poliwrath has some bulk. So now you have a counter user in Poliwrath that got a Scald buff and now access to Icy Wind, right? So Icy Wind for all these flyers, Icy Winds for all these dragons, Scald for neutral situations, which now has a 50% chance of lowering your opponent's attack. I think that is going to be very, very, very strong in this league. So definitely one that you should think about trying and one that you should think about building against, because I think it's going to be on a lot of teams. Mandibuzz has always been here because it's just kind of like when Umbreon was everywhere. It's just a flying Umbreon, right? Super, super bulky. Once it got Air Lace buff, it kind of got better, a little bit better. But you're just using it as like a tank in the mid game, a great answer to Psychic and Ghost, and all these like counter users like Virizion and stuff like that, where you can just hit super effective with Aerial Ace. And then what else is new on this list? Talonflame. Talonflame was interesting because Talonflame probably was in the top 20 when it first came out. When it got the Incinerate Community Day move and it came out, it probably was in the top 20 for Ultra League at one time. Very, very strong when you would just use it, Incinerate, Brave Bird, or ramp up. I think it kind of went away a bit because a couple things happened. I think there's other XL flyers now, like Pidgeot and Mandibuzz, which were probably more used. I think that this meta was still dominated by water Pokemon, Swampert, Tapu Fini, and Jellicent, all on the top page, which makes it kind of tricky to run Talonflame. But now it's Incinerate's buffed, so it's back on the top 20. It is a strong Pokemon. Notice Fly here. I use Fly in the Great League. I think Fly is the far superior to Brave Bird, especially in Ultra League. I think it's going to have even more play where you're able just to like hit super hard, but stay in a lot of matchups that you would otherwise have to like bail into safe swap. Just being able to stay in those matchups and still hit hard is a huge upgrade. So I think Talonflame, definitely one I will try again, and I think one others will as well. And then Lanturn. I have an XL Lanturn. I don't have it built up yet. I have the Hundo. You need a Hundo, and you need all the XLs, and it still doesn't get you, I don't think, anywhere close to the 2500 CP. But now it's at number 20. And I think that is just a direct result of increase in Poliwrath, increase in Talonflame. We already know Jellicent is here. Now Mandibuzz is higher up on this list too. So there's all that. I think that I'm not sold on it per se. Here's the thing. With Lanturn, you know how bulky it is in the Great League. This is level 50, level 51 best buddied in the Ultra League. So it is super, super, super bulky. It still has now a sparked buff, sparked nerf buff, but sparked neutral buff sort of overall from last season with good coverage moves for Surf and Thunderbolt here. So in theory, it makes sense. Why I have a problem with this is if you look at the top meta here in Ultra League, and two of them being Giratina and Virizion, which you have nothing to throw at, it just automatically sort of walls you. So it's one of those Pokemon where it's going to be like, can it be great against like flyers like Talonflame or Tapu Fini and Poliwrath, stuff like that, and other flyers? Yep. It's going to be, and walls Pidgeot, it can be very, very strong. You're also going to get sort of walled by Virizion and Giratina and stuff. So what I think the problem with Lanturn is what I said about #1 ranked Skarmory in the Great League. Very, very strong in a lot of matchups. Very RPS that you're going to get walled in certain matchups. And I see the same thing happening with Lanturn in Ultra League. So if you have the Dust and you have the XLs, is it worth a try? Yes. I think there's a lot of the stuff that you can beat or even hang with. Like I think you're probably going to hang with like Registeel and all these neutral matchups. Cobalion, I think it'll probably just hang in with those and do decent. Just if you get locked on to like a Giratina or Virgin and stuff like that, you probably can just top left because you're gonna have a hard time. But with that, let's look at some of these new Pokemon put together for teams. So I started with Poliwrath because I'm like, okay, I think it has the potential to be very, very strong. The hardest answer is going to be, it's interesting though, because even Giratina, where you can hit super effective with Icy Wind and lower their attack, you still lose. And I think that's just the spamminess of Giratina mixed with the counter being resisted there. So the fact that you're still losing to Giratina, Cresselia, Virizion with the grass move, Pidgeot, like you're still weak to flying even though you can hit super effective against flyers. There's still a lot of things that you need to kind of cover for. I still think it's going to be strong. I think it's generally as safe. I think Tapu Fini is probably going to be one of your biggest problems, but even that loss you're seeing here is a circle, is because they're also hitting resisted against you. They need to get to the Moonblast to get super effective, but their water guns are also resisted. So if you lower their attack a couple times with either landing it on Scald or just going straight Icy Wind, you can probably take at least one Moonblast. So that matchup is bad, but it's not terrible. Right, so that's that. So you got to cover your weaknesses. I covered it with Cresselia because Cresselia just is able to handle the majority of those Pokemon with its grass type moves, or the Moonblast for like Giratina and stuff like that. And then I put in a Sandslash as well because same thing, it'll kind of cover those weaknesses. And you don't, Cresselia and Poliwrath aren't, you don't have something weak to fighting on this team, right? So yet, I phrased that last time too. You don't. Cresselia and Poliwrath are not weak to fighting. Cresselia and Poliwrath are not weak to fire. Cresselia and Poliwrath are not weak to ground. So you don't have any of those like just like double weaknesses if you put in Sandslash. And that is why I put in Sandslash there, because it kind of covers the weaknesses there. If you're using Cresselia, anytime you're using Cresselia on a team, great safe swap. You have nothing to throw at Steels. So you need two answers for Steels. So Poliwrath and then a Sandslash will give you the answer for Steels as well with the drill run. Team 2, this should not look new if you've played Ultra League for a while, because it is a very, very, very balanced team. Talonflame, you can put, actually I think I have a different Skarmory team, but I think I probably did it the same concept with like Tapu Fini. Talonflame, cover your electric and water weakness with Swampert or Tapu Fini or something like that. Wouldn't a grass Pokemon be better? Yes. The only problem is in certain matchups like Giratina, where your fire is resisted, so you can only throw flies here. Before you'd have to Brave Bird and Bail. Now you can hit a couple flies, but if you go with a grass type Pokemon, you're also just gonna like get killed there. So yes, theoretically grass could cover this, but I think that these two play off each other pretty well, and then Giratina as your safe swap. But yeah, if you want to just like pure resist electric and pure resist water, then grass is your second option. Just know that stuff like Giratina and dragons, I mean dragons resist water too, but at least you have the earthquake for that, will cause you problems. So Lanturn, and you can just see with the bubbles filled in exactly the problems, right? Virizion. I didn't even mention like Swampert as an answer. Trevenant down there, you have nothing to throw against. So I think that Lanturn has play. Like, look at those super hard wins against Talonflame, Pidgeot, Tapu Fini, right? And Tentacruel and Charizard and stuff like that. So it has play. Just Trevenant, Virizion, Swampert. Giratina says you're going to not lose as hard, but you're still losing that one. Like, there's a lot of things that you're going to lose to. So I covered that weakness, all those problems with Mandibuzz, because Mandibuzz will be able to deal with majority of grass-type Pokemon, and Swampert is kind of a close matchup, but you should, just because Mudshots resisted, win there. And then I just put in a third Pokemon. If you're going to use sort of Mandibuzz, I always like to have another answer for Steels, and you don't have like a pure answer for Registeel yet, so Cobalion in there to answer sort of the Steel weakness. Team number 4. I put in 2 Pokemon here. Just looking at this team is just like, what is this? What is this meta? So Skeledirge and I don't even know how to pronounce this. Is it Suicune? Both got buffed. This meta, Incinerate and Scald, both got buffed. As you can see, kind of safe. Nothing overpowering wins. I guess you will overpower like Cobalions and Virizions, resisting the double kicks and stuff like that, and hitting super effective with the Incinerate. So those are overpowered wins for Skeledirge. But other than that, like, decent wins. Not a ton of super hard losses. Swampert's obviously the biggest one, but you can still hit for like Shadow Balls and stuff like that with Skeledirge. And when I did the analysis on Suicune there, I remember like it winning against Walrein, and I'm like, how does a Pokemon with only water and ice moves win against Walrein? And it's just like, it's bulky, it's spammy. Your moves now will lower the opponent's attack. Scald got buffed. And it's just like, so it seems to be generally safe. I mean, I'm gonna definitely try it out. It's one I want to try out. I'm not sold on these other ones yet that I'm gonna try out. I don't know if I can build a Lanturn. I can build a Skeledirge. Will I? I don't know. And then I just put in, if you're gonna use some like weird Pokemon, you might want to have an answer, just a general answer for most things. And Registeel, like I said, is probably one of the most broken. I'm currently trying to walk. I hope Registeel comes. I know people are like, how many times do we need Registeel? I still need like 70 XL candies to get my Registeel up to Ultra Leagues, and I'm trying to walk it now, but that's going to take me, this game's going to be gone by the time that happens. So last one here, Skarmory. I did put Swampert back in because the Skarmory Swampert combo is just one of the oldest combos in the book, right? Skarmory's just going to get walled by Steels. Swampert will beat the Steels. And this is the one where I went ABB style. So Tapu Fini in the back, I said, you got a bunch of double losses here. Virizion, like grass, right? Grass, Trevenant, Virizion, stuff like that. So safe swap your Tapu. When they see Skarmory in the lead and you say swap Tapu, most will just instinctively just go immediately into their grass Pokemon. You can still get a Moonblast off on them because you're decently tanky. You probably take at least one grass move, get to the Moonblast, either chip a ton or force shield. You probably just chip a ton. I doubt that they'll shield when they know Skarmory is going to come back on and beat them there. So Skarmory comes back in, and then Swampert will roam free. So that is how you would use this team. Or you could do realistically Skarmory with either Tapu or Swampert and the safe swap. So those are the 2 ways I would build around Skarmory. You just have the coverage move. I think Swampert would be better because you have to build Swampert because you're double weak to electric here. Again, not that there's a ton of electric. We'll see how many Lanturns show up. Not that there's a ton of electric in Ultra League, but that is why Swampert is generally the safer pairing with Skarmory, so you're not double weak to electric. That is it. So first things first, as we're now 18 minutes in the video, let me know in the Ultra League what Pokemon you want me to test out. I think that with Retro Cup on, and 2, which one are you going to play more? I'll do a poll for this, Retro or Ultra League. I think with Retro Cup, we'll just do like try-hard teams because it's been around for a week and we've already tested the Great League Pokemon. I think in Ultra League, there's not a point of going just like try-hard teams for Ultra League because there's been so many over the years. I think it's testing these new Pokemon to see how they feel. So testing Talonflame, testing Poliwrath to see how they feel in the Ultra League to figure out their place. So I'm probably going to combo those 2 this week, that strategy. So that is it. Let me know in the comments below what Pokemon you're looking forward to using and which league you're going to be playing. And maybe this afternoon we'll do the first Retro Cup team that I played with last week that I just dominated with. So maybe we'll post that this afternoon. We'll see if I can get ahead on recording here. Anyways, that is it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.